Hello everyone, I'm trapped in a locker, so let's complete another challenge for Bloons Tower Defense 6. Today we're going to be beating CHIMPS mode with just the subs and the hero Sada. So here are the rules on screen if you want to pause and take a look at them. And let's just jump right into this challenge. So first off, this challenge used to be doable with only subs, similar to the snipers, before the nerf to the top path sub taking away its lead popping. So I didn't want to really go through and see if it could still be done with just subs after the nerf. So I just picked Sada as the hero. And the reason we're going to use Sada is because I think this is the only challenge where we'll actually see a fully leveled Sada, which is kind of cool, I guess, in a way. So I figured we would use her over Etienne. So we have our first sub down, and overall, this will be a pretty simple challenge. We're just going to be relying on getting the tier 5s and then dropping another bottom path tier 4 sub for some extra damage. There's really not much to this challenge, so I'll just jump in later on. So I feel I should explain my cross-pathing choice here, because most people would have gone with the top path for the extra range, but I'm choosing the middle path for all of them so that we have extra DDT power, because the tier 5s can basically decimate DDTs on their own with the heated darts upgrade. And I felt like having DDT popping power and not just relying on Sada for it was a little bit better than simply getting a bit more range. Alright, so beating the Moab on round 40 wasn't nearly as hard as you'd think it would be for this challenge. And now we're just going to start saving up money for an Energizer, because Energizers can basically handle round 63 on their own. This cross path needs a little bit of help, unlike the bottom cross path, but it's still a pretty solid enough option to just take care of a large chunk of 63.
Get ready! Moab! Clean cuts and still cuts a tomato. Now we're talking. Sweeping sword. Clean cuts and still cuts a tomato. What's next?
Alright, after having gotten the Energizer, we're now going to get the preemptive strike first instead of the sub commander, because I want to have the extra blast of the Moabs at the start. We can use Sada for ceramic cleanup, but I feel like getting the preemptive strike first would be a smarter move than getting the sub commander, even though sub commander is cheaper. the ability for the preemptive strike is just simply better for the later rounds when we'll actually need it.
Sleeping sword. 아싸, 지렸다리. Clean cuts and still cuts a tomato.
So as you just saw, round 63 was not nearly as hard as it could have been, which was really nice actually. We didn't have to use a single ability. We were able to save that for stuff like this round, which also went by pretty easily. So even with the nerf, Energizer is still just a really solid tower if you can get it in a central area like this and have it be covering enough range. Unfortunately, it never seems to work well on Lotus Island for me, so I guess I still am looking on the right strat for that.
Big, red, and spicy.
Now that we have first strike, we can basically just sit back and relax through most of this because first strike is a really great mid game tower, being able to one-shot everything below a ZOMG and do massive damage to ZOMGs. So all we have to do is just sit back and wait for the preemptive. My finger slipped on that.
Now we're talking. Ready to slice. Clean cuts and still cuts a tomato. What's next? Get that CHIMPS!
Alright, now that we have preemptive strike, it is literally easy sailing from here because this thing is just insane for mid to late game. Especially given the 90s, how many ZOMGs and other Moab class balloons spawn in, this thing can immediately take them down at least one level and make it so much easier to handle. So all we have to do now is just wait for the sub commander, and we will have every single tier 5 for the balloon for the sub, and then we just drop another one for some extra damage.
Now we're talking.
Man, my fingers were just really slipping this game.
Clean cuts and still cuts a tomato. Clean cuts and still cuts a tomato.
And now we have Sub Commander, which just makes things even easier because he's going to buff all of our subs to do extra damage. And while I admit I don't know if that works for the preemptive strike missile attacks, i.e. the ability and the one that hits the balloons at the start, I do know it works for the regular missile, and that is significantly better anyway.
Looking sharp.
So from here, we just place the abilities very well. As you can see, DDTs are no problem at all. And all we have to do is place some abilities and win the game. And here you just see level or round 95 getting absolutely manhandled by the only subs. And it is surprisingly easy. All we need to do is just have a little bit of extra damage for the Ceram cleanup. Overall, this is basically the end of the run. There's not much I could do in terms of optimization, but I will openly admit that doing this with the hero is significantly easier than doing this without, because at this point I was trying to time when I needed to drop the first strike ability to maximize the effect of the splash damage to try and clear out as many smaller balloons as I could. This is much better because I can just sit here and wait for all of the balloons to come out and just watch them get deleted. So with all that out of the way, obviously this video isn't fully over, but we will be doing Buccaneer next, and after that we will be doing Heli Pilots next, which, if I'm remembering correctly, the Buccaneer was an incredibly challenging one, with the helicopter being not as bad as you would expect it to be. So I hope to see you guys then.